We here with some revolutionary educators at the Revolutionary Educator Podcast. You know, two gentlemen don't need no introduction. You know, we got RobiiiWorld, right? We got Keith. So just tell us real quick, man. You know, we just had a festive day at my school. Y'all came to visit my school because of a revolutionary educator I have. I call her Miss Monster, but y'all know about something else. So talk to us about that whole journey and how you know Miss Monster, who I know about, but what was that journey like?
You want to go? Okay. Well, Miss Monster. Well, I know her as Miss Johnson, Miss Celeste, but Miss Monster, she was an amazing teacher. She was like the only creative teacher we had at Doug. And it was kind of in the area like where your school is at, and that's a big flex, by the way. You always say that, my school.
Yeah. But listen, I gotta say that because sometimes people look at you and that's my school.
No, that's dope. That's dope. But yeah, she was the only person that had like an open mind that introduced these kids to like MacBooks and stuff. Like I was telling him that was the first time I had Starbucks when I like played with the MacBooks, you know?
Right.
And it was just dope. It was a dope experience and still utilize the tools that she taught us, like as far as Photoshop, as far as Final Cut Pro. And this stuff that we still utilize to this day, like on our laptops and on our equipment now.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I said earlier in the class, that that space we could really be ourselves, you know. And then she introduced us to tools that we didn't have at home. That really, technically, where we come from, was almost impossible to get. It was a Mac computer, or any type of equipment with cameras, you know, with the editing software, the Adobe suites. We couldn't afford that, but we spent a lot of time, and she literally taught us how to do that. And we didn't know how valuable that information would be today. Being able to edit, and being able to shoot content, and know what the system is, can really bring a lot of power in today's world when it comes to creating. That really was a seed that is
implanted.
Can't even explain.
Right.
And also being comfortable with ourselves too. Not like the typical like suit and tie. It was just like, hey, we're just like, even before she was on the wave, before creatives was even creative. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like, dang, like that was dope.
She lets you be your authentic self. Right? Like made you feel like you can be yourself in their classroom. Isn't that where, like, did y'all meet there? Did y'all meet in that classroom, or how did y'all meet?
We met at the school,
He actually introduced me to Miss Monster. And it was just, I don't know, it was just like we just started a friendship from there actually. 16 plus years?
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, I had to jump into it because I wanted to get that question answered. But for my audience who don't know you, man, let's start off with you. Who are you? What do you represent, and why do you do it?
My name is RobiiiWorld. My friends and peers call me Rob. What I represent people that go through a lot of obstacles, and some people that like mentally can't handle it, mentally can't go through it, but like you just got to push through. I represent my culture. I represent Atlanta. I represent the people that couldn't be here today, you know? And also I represent myself.
I love that. That's similar to like what I bring. If you caught me today, I got this hat on, but I always wear a Compton hat because I'm born and raised from Compton. And it always tripped me out because I got multiple master's degrees, all these different things, but I go teach to all these educators across the country, and they see me with some J's on and the Compton hat. But that Compton hat is to represent kids that come from communities like mine. From it be Atlanta, Detroit, Compton, the Bronx, to say, yo, it's that one kid that believe they can't be in spaces that, that try to be enclosed, and say, nah, we changing the narrative, and you can change the game. So I respect that, man. What about you, Keith?
Well, my name is Keith Dorsey. A lot of people know me as YoungGunCEO. And Rob and I grew up in the same community, west side of Atlanta, went to Frederick Douglass High School, for those who know. And to be honest, like I always tell people this, like I wouldn't even be where I am today if it wasn't for Robbie, because he did music. You don't know he was a music artist. And back then, he was like, "Can you be my manager?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't want to do it." I was like,
he did not want to do it. I manifested Manifesting is real.
Nah,
Manifestation
it's
is
for
real.
real.
Because I was like,
right.
you gonna be my manager, bro.
Right.
And look at him.
Yeah.
Managing.
Yo, that's crazy.
For real. And then the right situation came along, and I was like, all right, cool, because I wanted to make sure he was straight.
Yeah.
He had going on.
And I don't trust a soul.
Right,
So
right,
it's
right.
like I didn't trust no, like they coming with these big words and stuff. I'm like, Keith, like,
I handle it.
Right. That's dope.
You know, and that kind of led into like where we are today. You know, just making sure that the people who I'm connected with are just well taken care of when it comes to the business side, because they want to be creators, they want to create, they want to be artists. They can do it.
Right.
And Rahh don't know how to sign an agreement.
Yeah.
But it's like I can execute it, and this is what I can focus on.
Yeah.
You know, and it just led to where we are. Like we have the largest Black social media talent management companies in the United States. You know, and now we're being asked to come, you know, all over the place to speak about it. And what I stand for is really just being very firm for who you are and what you want to do, and do it despite of what nobody else says. Like you don't like we was telling some of the students, like one of the students was like, she wanted to be in entertainment, but she was bullied until not doing it, like talking about it. It was like, no, like you can't, they don't know. So if you see other people that are inspiring you, look at them. Yeah. Because those around, even like our family, I don't understand.
They
video.
don't.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Bro, right.
Let me tell you something. If I would listen to my family, I probably got fired from UPS.
Yeah.
By now. Yeah, my grand, I was raised with my grandparents.
Okay.
So my granddad, even when I was shooting my first movie, I shot outside the house. It was so embarrassing.
Right.
Had all the camera crew, and he was like, "You need to pack it up and get in this house now." And I'm like, "It's only 8 o'clock." Like, it was so embarrassing. It was so hurt. But there's like people and realize people just do not see the vision until you build it, and that's okay. And people gotta realize that's okay.
Yeah.
Normal.
Like what Nip said, it's like sometimes you gotta have a vision that nobody else can see.
Yeah.
Right, and you gotta push through it. But tell me this though, what inspired you? What inspired you guys, especially when you were going through school? I'm pretty sure it was hard to see that. So what brought that out of you? Like, what was your inspiration when you? Because your education was probably learning this is different. Like, how did you learn this, and what inspired you to go into this?
So what inspired me was honestly my dad. My dad is my number one inspiration. I would have to say he's the first person that I've seen was an entrepreneur and that was successful. Okay. And you know, that's took a big toll on my life. What keeps me going and what was it? My bad. What was the second question?
Like what inspired you, and how was that learning journey for you?
So the learning journey in content creation is failing. Just keep failing until you get it right. Learning from YouTube, late night studying, like literally, like you can add. I still do that to this day. I'll be on YouTube looking at videos. How can I get this shot better? How can I get this better? How can I direct better? How can I get more followers, or how can I like engage with my followers? What am I doing that's wrong? I looked that up. We in a day and age where like my dad, he was like, yeah, man, I just had to go to look up stuff with a encyclopedia. And I was like, what the fuck is a encyclopedia? Right. But we so blessed today in this day and age that we can literally go on our phones and literally find out everything. What we can do, you can literally, if you got any question, there's no excuse now. Right. There's really no excuse. It's like, hey, how can I be an actor? Yeah. Okay, you can look it up, how to be an actor. It's probably millions of videos on how to be an actor. Right directions. Okay, how do I get the casting call? Well, it's gonna be a list of how many. It's just simple. It's more simple now, and it's just like I think what's wrong is kids are taking it for granted because it's accessible. You know what I'm saying? Because I come from a generation where it was just like I seen it where it was like no phones. Then we had the little Nokias. Right. Then we had we had what's that, trios? The trio. Right. Then the sidekick. Palm Pilots, BlackBerry, iPhone. So we seen the evolution from no phones to like, okay, this is crazy. So we was like gradual, like how would you say, like, we gradually learn as we evolve.
Right.
But these kids now, they take it for granted. Like,
yeah, and I think it's about them knowing that it's possible. Because sometimes, like what we said today, if you can't see it, it's hard for you to be it. It's hard for you to be what you can't see. So it's that journey of learning and knowing that it's there. But how do you get there? And for me, thinking about, I consider you guys educators. You may not be a teacher in the sense of a credential in a classroom, but what you guys have is gold, is gems, because you failed a lot and you learned from those failures, right? So you have the ability to go and teach, what you guys was teaching today. You guys was teaching about your journey. So my question and my charge is always to those who are teachers, learning from you guys, learning from those who have perfected the craft of content creation, of how to develop a collaboration house. Because what you're doing, a collab house is cooperative learning.
It is, yeah.
That's what we do in our classrooms. What you do in content distribution, you're actually scaffolding a journey, right? And that's what teachers do with their lessons. And that's what this is about. It's like, how do we now inspire kids to use these tools? And from your position, I guess my question is, what would be that ask for teachers to charge off of what was missing from you in your journey when you was going through school that you wish that you had, knowing what you know now?
That's a good question.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Having teachers that's not like Miss Monster. Like, we should have more teachers like her.
Definitely should.
Like we had 50 teachers, and she was the only one that let us be our creative selves and let us have like an open mind. I think the teachers in the school system, and something that we saw at your school, it's totally dope, is that like, it's just they stuck in an old class. They stuck in the old ways of teaching. So it's like, we don't evolve from that teaching.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
That teaching was back in the early 1900s. Y'all still using it in 2022.
Yep.
Like, as we see from you, you got a podcast. We was like, we never had a podcast room. Podcast room. Like, it was just a lot of dope stuff we seen at your school. I was like, dang, this is it. This is amazing. But that's what was really missing from our perspective, and actually like seeing people that look like us, that was even our same age, that actually can do it.
Yeah.
Because they'll bring some people to our school that was like old and like, I became a lawyer, a doctor, stay in school, and like, no. Like, cause like you, like, I seen this one meme, it was like, you can't teach a fish how to swim on land. If the classroom is the land, like, you gotta put them in the water.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. What about you, Beast?
And then, first of all, our class with all the computers was not that many computers.
Yeah, we had like 4.
We walked in there and they had MetaMask training.
Yeah. Yep.
Wallet.
Yep. Yeah, wait, just listen. We are teaching our students how to drop NFTs, MetaMask wallets, cryptocurrency, Web3. Shout out to Web3 education.
Yeah, for real. So I'm still trying, my MetaMask, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, and back to where like creating what motivates and what keeps us on track is like, I always tell people, like, where we come from, the environment wasn't really that good, but we created our environment around us. So like, even with Ms. Monster class, back when we were in high school, that was our environment. We wanted to be around that. So we was there. I would literally skip other classes.
Right.
Not recommending to do that.
Right.
But then I would get permission from the other students.
Right.
Even from the teachers. Like, can I just go down there a little early? Yeah. We could do that. Because they knew what really inspired us. Yeah. And also, like, when I went home, I didn't even have internet until cable TV until I was like older, but once I got the phone, of course, and then YouTube, I was able to create a space, an environment within myself of people and things that I liked that kept me inspired. I would watch that stuff all the time. It's like, I know Deshae talked about not going to like parties and everything. We didn't do all that stuff.
Right.
Literally. Honestly, outside of school, we was connecting with Ms. Monster's family. With her son. Going to her church. Outside, the school. Wow. And then also the group that we were always around the same people all the time. Because we wanted the same thing. We had a vision of like this is what we want. This is what we're going to do. We don't have a lot of resources, but we know how to keep ourselves inspired until we got it. And then we had cars, so we would drive to the right things that were.
Well, he had the car.
Right.
Yeah, well, I had the car, but we would take ourselves to places that meant something.
Yeah.
That around people, even though we couldn't get in the door, we figured out.
Yeah.
But in the day, we've been escorted into different places.
Right.
But we was on the outside, walking around. No one knew who we are, but we were inspired by those things. We kept seeing, even today.
Yeah.
With the level we are. When I go different places, I'm looking. I'm like, me and Rob always say, "Oh, we're getting that. We're finna do this. We're finna do this event because we do events too.
Yeah.
We do festivals. So I'm always looking like. Even here, I'm looking at some. There's something else. I'm always collecting data and knowledge. I don't care where I'm at. I'm always looking to make what we're doing greater. And even when it comes to the house, we talked about like being able to be inspired by other things. Like even with the house and with creators and things that we're doing, no other creators were doing that look like us.
Yeah.
Being on the New York Times, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Being on a reality show on Hulu, like if you go to Hulu, the Hulu account follows me, follows Collab Crib. I don't know if they follow.
Nah, they don't follow.
Yeah.
And flex. Let's just let me go ahead and flex.
So it's like they could be inspiring. Like even our house.
Right.
In the beginning, like we was struggling trying to find a house. We didn't have a lot of money. So it was like, all right. It was like, let's just get a regular house, bro. $2,500 a month. No. We got to go big. We got to go 10, 15K a month.
Come on.
We got to get a mansion. We need land. We need to bust their heads.
Talk to me.
It did. Like,
that's how we got to do it.
Like how you say, keep that battery in your back.
Yeah.
So like your friends, it was like we was looking like when we signed that lease, we was like, hey, look, worst case, we just cancel the lease. We dropped, like we did it. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Hey, we in here now.
Yeah. No, but you say something really important because I work with principals and I always look at it like this. What you guys highlighted, it's a vibe that you create.
Yeah.
Like we are people that we can elevate to a vibe. Like in a classroom, it's a vibe that makes you feel like, I can be myself in this monster. Huh. But also you got to have a leader at a school or a leader of a business or like you leading your content and your page that creates a vibe. Just like when you're looking at somebody's Instagram page, you're just looking at it, it's like, this is a whole vibe right here. I can get part of this movement. But similar in the schools. So I know y'all been blessing us with your time, but I want to ask you this because you're 40 under 40 with the comedians in Atlanta. You had a collab group. What made you guys feel like this and where you're at? Like, what do you see yourself 5 years from now with what you guys are already starting?
Well, the crazy thing is, like we were at your school, like we to get us to school. We to get us to the academy, right? To teach these things. So definitely something similar to what you're doing, like this. What we're doing as content creating is becoming a serious thing, where younger kids are coming in school and saying, "This is what I want to do as a career."
Yeah,
and they blowing up fast. Too.
Yeah.
And don't have the knowledge Like now it's so easy for somebody to blow up that's younger and know if their mind can get all messed up because it's happening so fast. And like people that's experienced from us from literally zero to like where we at now and actually built it brick by brick by brick, not just like overnight. It was just like kids need to who is blowing up. They need to learn like, okay, like this is what you need to do, this is what you not need to do because they can because it's been so many people that have been famous and they just fall off quick. You know what I'm saying? And it's just certain little things like they could have learned from either like people like us. You say, hey, don't do that. Okay, keep doing this, but don't do that. Like, and that's
and what's huge about that, and that's what you see at schools and schools across the country I work with is that. Like not J. Cole, Big Sean said it. He's like, in school I learned math, I learned science, I learned biology, but not how to cope with depression and anxiety, right? And I'm sure you get fame real quick. You got trolls, you got comments, you got all these different things. And you got to be sometimes cut from a different cloth, or you have to learn, how do I deal when people are saying harmful things and threatening and threats and all these other things that come about. You go from $10 in your bank account to $5 million. You don't know liabilities, assets. So you get hit real quick, and you got to learn fast. And if you don't have the right network,
and who around you that's not real, fake, trying to be around you just because of the money,
all the fame.
So, like, have you guys considered, thinking about, when you're talking about a school, a youth accelerator that talks about content creation, how to develop content, how to distribute content, but how to also deal with the other components of it? Because there's schools I know in my network that have kids all across the country that has money to spend to looking at how do we create and engage with youth so they understand the ins and outs, the pros and the cons. Because social media ain't going nowhere. All these teachers are, we need to cut something. You see them, bring out the cell phone. They're not going anywhere. So, what do you see in your school, the academy? What's the vision? Because you said you're the visionary, and what that would look like, or how that would sound like, how it would feel like.
Well, definitely, it's kind of still something we like putting together.
Yeah.
Just because even if you aren't there, you still can mentally prepare for what you're trying to do in your vision. Write it down, always be thinking. Then you just naturally start walking into that. But I mean, just the overall concept of understanding how it works. Because sometimes people just get on there and they just post a video and they viral. But then not knowing that there's certain things you should know, like the algorithm, or how social media works. Even though most don't understand it, but you can still look at it enough to where you can have some type of understanding where you know how to work it. And knowing what each platform means. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, or whatever new apps that are coming out. Knowing how to understand what each platform is. And also the basics. Shooting content.
Correct.
Editing, lighting.
Correct.
What type of cameras.
Come on.
So it gets very deeper than just, we're just shooting. Like even knowing how to how to work different things on your functions on your phone. And it's a lot of things that can go into that. And also being able to, even with what we're doing, we take creators and we get them ready for like mainstream entertainment. So a lot of the creators do music, they act, they entertain, they are entrepreneurs. So like preparing their, like, okay, cool, this content is cool, but what's next? How can we utilize all these followers and monetize and build a career off of it?
Come on.
Is what we definitely will focus on, we'll continue to focus on. Because it's a system just like the world, entertainment, business, school, education, it's the same thing. It evolves, but it's the same basics. So even with social media, even with content creating and being an influencer, we're going to use that same system to bring people from one point to the next point. And also becoming, like you asked too, like what in the next 5 years, like having a really big talent agency based in Atlanta, and also a music label based in Atlanta, like Next Up music label. Y'all might as well keep this clip. And put it in a documentary like Kanye documentary. It's valuable.
Bottle it up, put it in NFT.
Right.
No, I love that. And I'm gonna come down to this last question I always ask my guests is, what makes you a revolutionary educator, right? And I want you to really think about that, right, on your journey, and as we have a mission to revolutionize school cultures across the country, because there's a lot of kids struggling to find their voice right now. There's a lot of teachers struggling to engage with young people. There's a lot of principals who stuck in just a traditional 1991, 1980 state of mind. And we need to connect with revolutionary educators who's doing great work in the world, but how it also connects through the pathway to save and transform lives. So, what makes you a revolutionary educator, and what will make you continue to be a revolutionary educator?
I think the first step is always being inspired and always being able to make decisions despite of what other people think. So like, in a way, it's like being a visionary, because like most people don't know, they can't understand what your vision is. It's not for them. There's a lot of things that are around this world that we utilize today. Somebody had to think about it, even just light. Light bulb. Like long time ago, even flying, people thought flying car. Now I just looked at a Snapchat thing. They got a flying camera.
Right,
Right. So somebody had to think of that, but you have to make that decision and not be moved away from that, and to stay on that no matter what the naysayers say, no matter what people. Oh, no, this not gonna work.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a straight. No, I don't think it's gonna work. Of course, you don't think so because God didn't give you that vision. That's for me. Until I make it happen, then y'all want to use resources.
Yeah.
And also like being open to new things.
Yeah.
And always studying and being aware of what's going on around you and not being stuck in your little box. So people get stuck in the old ways and they become obsolete. Like you gotta always be knowing what's going on in the world and always be researching. Like we just said, we used to have to go read books to find information, but we can stay on top of trends, stay on top of what's going on, stay on top of the new stuff just by being
Active,
being aware and being active, and also giving the generation, the new generation, opportunity and teaching them because they're gonna keep you up on game.
Yep. What about you?
Just to piggyback off what he said, just my motto: never letting an obstacle determine my outcome.
Come on.
I've been through hell and back. He's seen it. You know what I'm saying? I still got more hell to go through, and I'm ready. So it's just like, just always keeping the vision clear, no matter like what he said, no matter what, nobody sees it as long as you see it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, as long as it's crystal clear to me, I'm gonna do it.
No doubt. You know what I always tell students is never get knocked off your square. You know, because there's gonna be a lot of people and try to knock you, a lot of different obstacles try to knock you off your square. And I just want to thank y'all, man, for coming in and giving game for educators across the nation. Where can people find you? I mean, listen, y'all killing it. But for our audience, there's some educators out here. Where could they find you? Dope content creation, and how could they support? Go ahead.
RobiiiWorld, ROB, 3 Eyes World, on everything.
All right, mine is YoungGunCEO, YoungGunCEO, on pretty much everything, but also you could use my government name, Keith Dorsey. Type that in too as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn, especially for a lot of professionals. I use LinkedIn a lot as well.
Let's get it, man.
Follow me on MySpace.
Shout outs to Tom, right? Shout out to Tom. Revolutionary Educator Podcast, man. Stay revolutionary.